The big question, is Mario Kart World a system-selling game, or is the system selling Mario Kart World? That's what we're going to talk about today in this edition of Switch 2 News Direct. In the last video, we alluded to the system-selling games with Final Fantasy VII and how Final Fantasy VII was selling out, but is it selling Switch 2s? And my answer to that, it pretty much is no, I don't think it is. I think there are some people buying a Switch 2 so they can play Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I don't think it's the killer app. It's that big system seller that everybody talks about. And when we talk about that, we have to talk about Mario Kart World. Now, Mario Kart World was selling 1-to-1 with the Switch 2. I don't know if it still is, or close enough to 1-to-1, but I don't know if it still is, since the bundle basically has been squashed and they're moving on to different bundles. So the question is Mario Kart World a system-selling game, or is the Switch 2 in such high demand and so many people actually wanted that Switch 2 when it first came out that they just bought the bundle to save that $30 and not pay $80 for Mario Kart? And that, to me, basically says that the Switch 2 is selling Mario Kart World. Mario Kart World isn't selling the Switch 2. And I 100% believe that. I don't think Mario Kart World is a system-selling game. Yes, I bought the bundle, but I wouldn't have bought Mario Kart World. Man, that's you know what? I don't want to say that, because I may have bought Mario Kart World for $80 if it wasn't bundled in, because Mario Kart is almost like if you own a Nintendo system and there's a Mario Kart available, you buy it. End of story. It's like a must-have. It's a staple of games that you have if you own a Nintendo system. So I want to say I wouldn't have bought it for $80, but I may have, because I bought a ton of stuff when it came out because I was hyped to get the Switch 2 and different accessories and you know, that whole release day hype. So I may have bought it, but I don't think a lot of people would. A lot of people would have bought it had it been $80 separate, not included. The main reason we all bought that, the motivation to buy that for everybody was, hey, I'm going to save $30. I might as well buy it because it's Mario Kart. I'm going to buy Mario Kart anyway, so I might as well save the $30 and buy the bundle. So again, I think the system sold Mario Kart. I don't think Mario Kart sold the system. I think the Switch 2 would have sold the same amount of systems it sold from release till now, whether Mario Kart World existed or not. So again, we still don't have that killer app. We don't have that system-selling game. And is there ever going to be a system-selling game? What's the next big game? Is it Resident Evil 9? Is that going to be the system seller? I mean, maybe, but I still think we're talking, you know, a niche game. I don't think everybody wants to play Resident Evil 9. I am pumped. That's the #1 game I'm excited for, pumped for, want to play. I've been mostly playing, you know, a lot of the updated older games that, you know, Nintendo has brought the Switch 2 versions out, or they've, you know, given them HDR updates. That's kind of what I've been playing the most. I mean, I think I have most of the Switch 2 games, Switch 2 versions of the games, but I really don't play them that much. I've been playing kind of the older stuff, and I like playing the older stuff. But Resident Evil 9 is the game that everything stops when that game comes out, and I'll be playing it dedicated. Who knows? Maybe I'll miss a bunch of days of videos playing the game. That's the game I'm hyped for, and if I didn't have a Switch 2, I probably would buy a Switch 2 to play that game. I love Resident Evil. I've been playing them since the day they came out. So to me, that would be a system seller. But that doesn't mean it's a system seller across the world, that everybody's going to buy it because of that game. And that's what that killer app is. And again, that's the downfall. You know, I don't want to say downfall. That's a knock against the Switch 2. There isn't that killer app. But look how well the Switch 2 is selling. You know, the Switch 2, I think, is still selling games, just like Mario Kart. We're buying Mario Kart World because of the Switch 2. Now, we're not buying the Switch 2 because of Mario Kart World. I mean, it may almost sound like the same thing, but it really isn't when we get into this whole killer app, you know, system selling games. So what is going to be that game? Is there ever going to be a system selling game? You know, what do you think? Are you going to buy Resident Evil? Are you going to buy any other games? Or buy a Switch 2 because of those games if you haven't bought one yet? Do you really care? Are you in the same camp as me saying that the Switch 2 is really selling games? There's no game selling the Switch 2? I'm really curious what people think about this, because it's almost like the last knock that the haters and the naysayers are, you know, it's to me the last grasp at a straw of why the Switch 2 is failing, because it doesn't have that one big killer app, which is completely ridiculous. Failing means it's not selling and it's going to die out and it's a piece of crap. Like the Virtual Boy. Now, not to sidetrack, but the Virtual Boy, I don't think lasted 1 year in Japan as far as support. Nintendo released it, and in less than a year, they discontinued it. In the US, it may have been exactly a year before they discontinued, no support, we're done. That's a system failing. The Switch 2 is far from failing. We're 7 months into it, and it's the best-selling system of all time in its first 7 months. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, but we can't say it's failing. But that big knock is the software. We don't have that killer app. We don't have that system-selling game. So you tell me, is there a system-selling game and I missed it? I know I mentioned this in the last video. I don't think there is. And what is a system-selling game, and what could be a system-selling game that Nintendo could possibly release before the next Christmas season? Because that's when you need to get that killer app out if you really want to blow up sales in that that next round of because Christmas is when game systems and games really blow up and sell. So what can Nintendo do and release before Christmas to have that killer app? I'm really curious what everybody thinks, because I don't think they have one, and I can't think of anything they can release in this year that's going to be that system-selling game. So let's open it for discussion. Throw something in the comments, and we'll talk about it on the next edition of Switch 2 News Direct. Peace.